The city hits its hottest day yet this year, with temperatures reaching beyond 33 degrees. Hong Kong Airport's Terminal 2 begins welcoming travellers today. And Trump says he is in perfect health after fourth physical exam in 2 years. Good evening. Welcome to TVB News. The very hot weather warning is in force. The observatory records a maximum temperature of 33.7 degrees Celsius, the highest so far this year. Mimosa Ngai reports.
Another hot May day. Most residents are already dressed in summer outfits. To cope with the heat, umbrellas and sunglasses are key accessories for many people. Newspapers are another option to shield against the sun. At around 2:30 p.m., the temperature reached 40 degrees Celsius in Shenzhou. This cleaner says working outdoors under the scorching weather makes her sweat constantly. I'm wearing 2 layers to absorb sweat, she says. While the observatory recorded a maximum temperature of 33.7 degrees, the temperatures in Sai Kung and Chengguano were 35.5 and 35.2 respectively. Weather authorities say the heat is brought by the El Nino impact, affecting the atmospheric circulation over the northern part of the South China Sea and bringing more rainfall to the coastal region. Looking ahead, the scorching hot weather will last for another couple of days, with temperatures reaching 36 to 37 degrees on Friday in the new territories. The observatory reminds residents to stay hydrated to prevent heat stroke. Mums 9, TVB News.
Hong Kong International Airport's new Terminal 2 begins welcoming travellers today. The airport authority expects passenger volume to reach 8 million in the first year of operation. Mimosa Ngai reports.
Welcome to T2. At about 5 a.m., the first group of passengers arrived to experience the new check-in counters at the revamped Terminal 2. They are passengers taking the Hong Kong airline to Pudong, Shanghai. Many like the new facilities, saying the check-in procedures are much more convenient and efficient compared to before. Hong Kong Airlines is the first airline to relocate at T2, while 6 other operators will move to the terminal on Thursday. By mid-June, a total of 15 airlines are expected to be at T2. Speaking to the media, the airport authority says the first day of operations are very smooth.
Our passengers are very happy, and we have some wow effects in the terminal. A lot of LED with a lot of animation and new design emphasizing technology, and we have a self-designed for our in-house design for the self-checking system, which only requires 45 seconds to go through the entire process.
Zhang says the ultimate goal is to help airlines reduce manpower at the check-in counters and improve passenger experience. Mums 9, TVB News.
Hong Kong authorities are working with their Guangdong counterparts on the arrangement for both northbound and southbound yachts. A lawmaker suggests converting the China Ferry Terminal in Tsim Sha Tsui into a yacht berth. Samantha Lee has the story.
The China Ferry Terminal in Tsim Sha Tsui has been in operation for 38 years. It provides ferry services connecting to Zhuhai, Zhongshan, Nansha and Sunde. With the development of cross-border land transport networks, such as the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge, the number of ferry passengers is continuing to decline. Last year, passenger volume was only 838,000, a 33% drop year-on-year. This accounts for less than 10% of the total cross-border passenger traffic. This lady says there used to be 4 daily ferry departures to Nansha, but the frequency had decreased now. She notes fewer people take the ferry, as most prefer driving or taking buses. To this passenger, traveling by ferry is more comfortable, as it offers toilet facilities and saves them from the hassle of crossing land immigration checkpoints. Meanwhile, the Hong Kong-Macau Ferry Terminal in Shenwan sees a 1% decrease in passenger volume from last year. Lam Ming-feng, lawmaker for transport, says the government is actively driving the yacht economy to attract high-end spending tourists. He suggested the China Ferry Terminal could become a small yacht berthing facility where visitors can do shopping after disembarking. Secretary for Transport and Logistics Mabel Chan says the government will closely monitor the long-term operations of the two ferry terminals and is open to different options, including merging the two facilities. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
Starting May the 31st, the government will provide a subsidy of 50 cents per litre to commercial vehicles using liquefied petroleum gas, or LPG, for a period of 2 months. The subsidy will begin at midnight on May the 31st and is expected to benefit nearly 17,000 taxis, approximately 3,400 minibuses and about 170 school minibuses. All 66 LPG refueling stations in Hong Kong will directly offer a discount of 50 cents per litre to drivers refueling. Some drivers welcome the subsidy, but transport operators say it is not enough. The sector also hopes the subsidy will last 6 months. 1 person dies and 9 others remain unaccounted for after a chemical tank implodes at a pulp and paper mill in Longview, Washington. Authorities say there is no hope of rescuing those missing as the condition of the tank remains unstable.
A chemical tank holding nearly 1 million gallons of a highly corrosive liquid imploded and collapsed Tuesday at Nippon Dynawave Packaging Company, killing at least 1 worker, leaving 9 others unaccounted for and another 9 injured. Authorities are looking at possible recovery efforts as the dangerous liquid still inside the unstable tank makes rescue hopeless. Emergency responders will attempt to stabilize the collapsed tank, which still has about 90,000 gallons of a chemical brew known as white liquor, before recovery can begin.
That's the concern if additional liquid leaking, because it's very caustic. Additionally, the tank itself collapsing while men and women are in the areas retrieving the co-workers and the members from Nippon. How that gets stabilized is what our primary goal is. Stabilizing the tank, 1, removing the liquid from inside the tank, 2, then accessing the victims that we are able to locate and recover.
Of the 9 injured, including first responders, some suffer from burns or inhalation injuries. Officials have identified no immediate threat to the surrounding community and are asking the public to avoid the area. Gloria Vang, TVB News.
US President Donald Trump had another medical exam on Tuesday, putting his health under renewed public scrutiny after he has worked to dismiss concerns over his age and stamina. The 79-year-old president spent more than 3 hours at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center for what the White House describes as preventive medical and dental checkups. It was Trump's 4th publicly disclosed medical exam since he returned to the office for a second term, and it comes as he tries to project strength ahead of midterm elections that will test his sway with voters. In a social media post after the visit, Trump says he had just finished his 6-month physical and that everything checked out perfectly. Trump, a Republican, turns 80 next month and was the oldest person elected US president. A poll conducted in April found less than half of US adults think Trump has the mental sharpness or physical health to serve effectively as president. Europe is sizzling under an exceptionally early heat wave driven by a powerful heat dome that led to a rise in deaths, spurring government warnings and calls for climate action. Kew Gardens in southwest London hit 35.1 degrees Celsius on Tuesday that smashed the UK's century-old May temperature record for the second time in 24 hours. London also endured a rare tropical night in which temperatures did not fall below 20 degrees. A group of swimmers plunged in the first officially designated public bathing area in the River Thames at Ham. Authorities say several drownings were reported in Britain and France as people sought relief in the cool water. The French health minister recommends people stay hydrated throughout the day and calls for more solidarity with the elderly and isolated neighbours who might be at risk. The unseasoned heat also extends to Italy, which has issued its first heatwave warning of the year with outdoor restrictions. Temperatures are forecast to intensify further this week, notching up to 35 degrees in the north. US President Donald Trump is set to convene his cabinet on Wednesday to weigh next steps in ending the war with Iran. This after Tehran retaliated against the latest US strikes in southern Iran and warned it held Washington as responsible for any consequences. Foreign Minister Wang Yi notes the key issue concerning the situation is the negotiations between the US and Iran, expressing hope that the parties can stay committed to pursue a ceasefire. The Pentagon carried out defensive strikes against Iranian missile launch sites and mine-laying boats amid the weeks-long ceasefire, an action that Tehran decried as a sign of bad faith and unreliability. Iran's Revolutionary Guard says it had shot down and deterred drones and a fighter jet on Tuesday, while the country's foreign ministry states it will leave no act of aggression unanswered. About Monday's US attack, Secretary of State Marco Rubio tells reporters that an agreement on reopening the Hormuz Strait and extending the ceasefire is still possible and will take a few days. Rubio says he's either going to make a good deal or no deal. President Trump, meanwhile, grumbles on social media that even if Iran were to surrender, the US media outlets would portray the end of the conflict as Iran scoring a masterful and brilliant victory. Several key issues remain unresolved, including how Tehran will give up its stockpile of highly enriched uranium and whether Israel's fighting against Hezbollah in Lebanon will be covered by the ceasefire. Trump's emerging deal is facing scrutiny from Republican senators such as Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham, who allege the terms seem too favorable to Tehran and would reverse U.S. military gains. They raise concerns that some aspects of the deal resemble the nuclear agreement with Iran by former U.S. President Barack Obama. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi says on the sidelines of a United Nations Security Council meeting that Beijing has maintained communication with major parties at stake and is working to de-escalate the current conflict. Wang says Iran and the United States should continue efforts to resolve their differences via negotiations so that peace can return to the Middle East as soon as possible. He reiterated China's position that the security of passages and energy infrastructure must be safeguarded and the provisions of the nuclear non-proliferation regime must be implemented. In Italy, Pope Leo also renewed his appeal for dialogue when speaking about the Iran war. He says, "We're causing more and more hatred. Violence does not help from every side. So the message must be the one to go back to negotiations, to seek dialogue to solve problems, also respecting human rights of everyone." A pipeline of vaccines are under review by the World Health Organization in response to the Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. This as the death toll rises to 220 in the country. Meanwhile, countries are implementing measures for those who are traveling from affected areas. According to the World Health Organization, there are more than 900 suspected cases and 220 suspected deaths linked to Ebola in the Democratic Republic of the Congo as of Tuesday. A global effort is being put into force as the head of the WHO, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, is expected to travel to the Democratic Republic of the Congo, joining some 55 humanitarian partners already stationed in the affected areas. In tandem with efforts on the ground, the WHO is reviewing vaccine development. Professor Teresa Lam, head of vaccine immunology of the Pandemic Sciences Institute at University of Oxford, says work is underway to produce a vaccine targeting the Bundibugyo strain.
We have been able to pivot rapidly and to start to make a vaccine against Bundibugyo. Many people within the field were involved in the 2013-2016 outbreak during that period, and that amount of knowledge has really helped us be able to pivot and try and make a vaccine against this new outbreak that is happening in the DRC.
Meanwhile, countries are taking measures to keep Ebola out of their borders. In Canada, citizens, permanent residents and other exempt travelers who have visited the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Uganda and South Sudan in the last 21 days will be required to self-isolate for 21 days beginning May the 30th. Residents from those countries will not be allowed to travel to Canada. Some immigration document processing will be put on pause for the next 90 days. U.S. Customs and Border Protection adds Houston's George Bush Intercontinental Airport to the list of designated hubs, in addition to Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport and Dulles International Airport, to screen passengers traveling from affected African countries. Thailand is also imposing a 21-day Ebola quarantine on travelers arriving from DRC and Uganda. Pope Leo XIV got a close look at the first fully electric Ferrari in Italy's Castel Gandolfo. During the meeting with the Pope, John Elkann, the president Italian of the car brand, accompanied by other company executives and technical staff, presented the pontiff with the Ferrari steering wheel. The Pope was among the first to take a close-up look at the luxury auto manufacturer's debut fully electric vehicle. He got a feel of the supercar as he sits in the driver's seat and examines the various interior details. The new Ferrari Luce tests the limits of electric vehicles, and it can go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 2.5 seconds. The team behind the design is headed by Johnny Ive, who is best known for his work on iconic Apple products like the iMac and iPhone. Hong Kong's smoking rate drops to 8.5%, hitting a record low. The Department of Health launches a Quit in June campaign to fight smoking. An AI service is introduced to provide personalized smoking cessation counseling services. Samantha Lee reports.
The latest government figures show there are 538,000 smokers aged 15 or above in 2025, a 6% drop from 2023. On average, they smoke 10.2 cigarettes a day. The number of people using e-cigarettes and heated tobacco products is also in decline. Around 37% of smokers tried to quit but failed. Construction worker Andy Lowe started smoking at the age of 9 and used to smoke 40 cigarettes a day to relieve stress. He successfully quit last year after using Chat to Quit, an AI counseling program launched by the Department of Health and the University of Hong Kong. He says, when I was trying to quit, my coworkers would say, join us, and they would give me cigarettes. Fortunately, the AI robot Mike sent me messages to remind me that I was quitting. The Department of Health will send out trial packs of smoking cessation drugs through some 300 community pharmacies. Meanwhile, Chinese medicine ear points patches will also be available at more than 50 Chinese medicine clinics, covering more than 200 locations to help individuals battle their addiction.
In 2024, we introduced the 10 tobacco control measures, and most of them have already implemented. And we expected they will continuing decreasing in the smoking preference in the coming years.
It has been about a month since the ban of alternative smoking products in public places. Lam says as of May 23rd, his office has conducted a total of 3,300 inspections and issued 39 penalty notices. Besides existing anti-smoking measures, the Department of Health says it will continue to use education and promotion to drive smoking rate down to its 7.8% target. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
And that's the news. Thank you for watching.